let me hit record. And get the message.
This conference will now be recorded.
Good morning. This is the Real Estate and Open Space Committee meeting for January 15th, 2021. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the Open Meeting Law, GLC 30A, Section 18, and the Governor's March 15th, 2020 order imposing strict limitation on the number of people that may gather in one place, this meeting of the Town of Harwich Real Estate and Open Space Committee on January 15th, 2021 will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. Specific information and the general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and/or parties with a right and/or requirement to attend this meeting can be found on the Town of Harwich website. Good morning, everyone. I will first call the meeting to order, and we need a roll call vote. Go, of course, Kathy.
Kathy Green here.
Dave.
Here.
Marcia.
Marcy Smith here.
All right, we are now in session. First of all, I'd like to let you know that Susan Manfredonia, who you see is joined our meeting, is someone, a Harwich resident who is interested in joining our committee. And she's just visiting today to see what we're all about. So Susan, I welcome you. You can hit *6 to speak.
Hi, everybody.
Susan, like I said, is a Harwich resident. She has been interested in what we've been doing on our committee. She was one of the people that was involved with discussions on the property on Hawks Nest Road. So she was interested in conservation and property. Susan, anything else you'd like to say about yourself, or?
No, that's fine.
Okay, stick with us. Okay, I had issued an invitation to Mr. McCaskill to join our meeting this morning. He said he's going to be up in the mountains somewhere, and only if he had access, internet access or Wi-Fi or whatever to be able to join us, that he would. So at some point he may join us. The purpose of my invitation to him was Carol Porter, our committee member, had been watching a Board of Selectmen meeting a few weeks ago and called me the next day and told me to watch the video because at that meeting, Mr. McCaskill brought up Real Estate and Open Space Committee and was talking about owners unknown property and tax lien property, because he had received the report from our tax collector about the outstanding balances on the tax lien list. I then spoke to Amy Bullock, the tax collector, and she sent me a copy of the letter that she had given to the selectmen, which I think I sent to all of you. You should have gotten it. And Mr. McCaskill was concerned about the amount of money outstanding and said that Real Estate and Open Space, being as we have $50,000 a year to do title searches, should concentrate on owners unknown properties. I contacted Mr. McCaskill and told him that we've been doing that for several years. As a matter of fact, on the January 17th, 2020, 2 days short of a year ago, at this very meeting, we discussed how we were going to make our presentation to the Board of Selectmen about owners unknown and tax lien properties. And if you look back through some of the agendas, which I did, some of this goes back 5 years or more. where we've recommended properties to the Board of Selectmen and nothing seems to go anywhere. So I thought this would be an opportunity for him to speak with us and give us some direction. What do they want and why are we doing this if they never follow through with anything? It gets to be frustrating. And quite frankly, some of it we've taken on ourselves. We have requested foreclosure on 4 properties, 2 of which were on the list of properties that we had recommended to the Board of Selectmen. And when I checked with the tax collector, those 4 properties have gone through legal and they are at the land court now. How much work is being done at the land court at the moment is kind of unknown because of the restrictions and how people are working and how many hours and access and all that. So, as always, things are creeping along, but at least they've moved that far. So we have accomplished something so far. We've moved things along. Amy Bullock also sent me the latest. I know I sent you out that list of properties. That was what she had submitted to the Board of Selectmen, and I know that looked like craziness, but if you sort that Excel file by property, and you just get the land, not the buildings or buildings and land and buildings. You just look at the land, and then look at all the properties unknown. Take them out. I mean, it's daunting the amount of money that has never been collected on these properties. Kathy, you had yes, I know you had a question about where there was a new owner. Is that?
No, I just wanted to clarify that with regards to the $50,000 that was awarded through the Community Preservation Committee long ago and then redone and it's sitting in their administrative account now, that money can only be accessed for tax title work if it's a property that falls under one of the CPC categories, like open space protection, historical protection, affordable housing. It just can't be used to pursue whatever property we find, that is worth pursuing on the tax lien list. It has to fall under one of those categories so that it can be reimbursed. I mean, if we did some research on a property and it ended up not being suitable for one of those things, we'd have to return that money. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, so tax foreclosures, that's totally different. Well, we couldn't access that 50,000. That doesn't mean we can't push to have, that process move forward. But with respect to the tax title research and using that $50,000, it has to fall under those, buckets that we have.
Right. So I think we would keep that in mind as we look over those properties and look at the ones that would be most suitable, that would be worth our time to.
Which we have already done.
Yeah, I know that.
Countless times.
I know. Now, I did, you had brought up to me the question about some of those owners unknown then had new owner and the lien is they're still on the lien list. Amy Bullock's answer to that question was, sometimes when people do not use an attorney to purchase the land, there is no check to see whether there is a lien or not. Very interesting. The lien stays with the property, not the person. So if you kind of follow that through, let's say I decide I'm going to give my house to my son and there's a lien on it. Well, I just give him the house. I mean, there's no attorney involved in this. I can change the deed or whatever happens. He can live here for another 25, 30, or 40 years. That lien is still going on because it has never been brought up legally by an attorney. This is what Amy said. So there's properties out there that the liens will never be until at some point somebody buys it and their attorney finds out there's a lien and deals with it. So that was her answer. Marcia, you probably know more about this.
I just wanted to add on to that. That's absolutely true. Usually when the attorneys, you have attorney do a title search and that will come up. If you're using attorneys for a closing, a transfer of property, they will require that the seller did have the lien discharged or clean it up or pay whatever it is, and then before they can transfer the ownership of the property. So that is true with regards to the lien stays with the property.
Right. Okay. So that answers your question, Kathy, I guess, as to why those, I saw that too. If there's a new owner, why is there still a lien? But there's an answer for everything, I guess. Now, Amy Bullock also sent me the latest tax lien list that we're used to, the one with the amounts due and all that. And I will send that off to you all sometime this morning when this meeting is over. Again, a lot of, yes, Dave.
When you just kind of shifted over to the second copy of the liens list, realize that in the first liens list that was sent out, there were a lot of properties in there. And I looked at that and I said, wait a second, I know some of these people. And I went to the land court and found out that in fact those liens had been redeemed. And there was a column in there that said R, which was for redeemed.
Right.
So the second list that Elaine just mentioned is the better one to use because that is limited to just the unredeemed liens. It was just all liens from 2002 on. Right.
And I think Amy explained why she sent that first one. It's because she was trying to show the Board of Selectmen how many cases had been added in the last 5 or 6 years. So if you sort that list by date, you see that the certain ones that were highlighted, they'll all fall to the bottom and they'll be all the latest cases that have been, she was just trying to show how many new ones have been put on the list. That was, but you're right, on the list I'm going to send you, it's only active cases. And again, you know, if we sort by land only, I mean, there's some of them on there. It's ridiculous. I mean, somebody owes over $103,000 in back taxes. How can that go on? People own 85, 43. But like Amy said, people don't pay the taxes. They just let it go and go until at some point they either sell the property or develop the property. People who, I mean, we're surprised to see developers have land on there that they haven't paid the taxes. Why? Because they're waiting until the land, they start to break it up into parcels and lots. And then, Marcia, you can probably understand this even more, that they wait until they've plotted out the development, break it up. So then that actual one that's on the lien list isn't really exist anymore. I don't know. I didn't quite understand all that, but you know, there's ways that they're using it to get around paying it until they absolutely have to. Yeah, so that's why it sits there. So this is what we can look it over. I mean, here we go again. But again, this is why I was hoping that Mr. McCaskill could have joined us, because I wanted a directive from him. I wanted to let him know, bring it to his attention. Here we go again. And, you know, what more can we do? We all know that it's difficult to find somebody to do the title search. Suggestion, Kathy.
Well, I say we go back to our last list that we sent to the Board of Selectmen and take those exact properties off that list. Some were tax liens, some were owners unknown,
Right.
Some were foreclosure, and say, here, this is what we want to pursue. Again, I mean, I don't think we should go through the list again unless those that we proposed have been taken care of. I mean, for example, if we went on our list and we found that something been paid off, then okay. But I don't think there's been any movement on anything on anybody's part, whether somebody's paid them or whether it's been pursued.
Well, the two of them that we did, Zero Woodland
Mhm.
and what was one of the two of them we did send for foreclosure. So two of those.
But nothing's happened, right?
Well, it's sitting waiting for something to happen, but at least it got that far. You know, it got. I know. Fine. If any other comment, anybody else? Dave, you got anything to?
The only thing I could
Look it over and see if something new has come on that might be, I don't know.
that there's not that much stuff. If it's a new lien that's just been placed, nobody's going to take any action on that for a couple of years, just because you got to give the people an opportunity to redeem it. The stuff that we would be looking for would be things that have been hanging around for 5, 10, or even longer, that would generate enough of a tax liability that it may be impossible for the person to redeem it, or we could get the property at a good value. I just wanted to mention everybody that the graphics the maps that I made of the town, of all the parcels and their classifications by who the owners were and the tax liens and wetlands and all the rest of that stuff. About 2 months ago, I prepared that for folks at Town Hall because they no longer have ArcMap, and I prepared it in a Google Earth format. And if anyone would like a copy of that, I have it listed on Dropbox, and you can go up. I just need to know somebody's email address that they would use for Dropbox, and they could download those files to your computers. But if you're not a Google Earth user, that wouldn't make any sense. But that's what I use when I'm looking to try to figure out, what's a good piece of property to go after? Does it have a lien? And you can click on an individual parcel, and it will tell you who currently owns it, what the lien was. Dates of my liens was August, but that's not going to be changing significantly. When the lien was placed, all basically the same information that's on this tax list that we just got from Amy. But it's just it's a more graphical way to be able to spot properties that make sense.
Right. Well, I think maybe I can't speak for him certainly, but I have the thought that Mr. McCaskill is maybe looking at properties that could be turned over, sold, put back on the tax, paying list. Make them properties that we would gain some tax income from. I have a feeling that's what his intent is, but again, I can't speak for him. But,
I don't think that should be a role of real estate and open space. However, that's the tax office. That's the finance director's responsibility to be looking at that. And,
well, again, which is why I wished he was here to answer to this.
Yeah, I know. I just don't think that's our responsibility.
He's the one that mentioned us and pulled us in. So unfortunately, he's not here. Yes, Kathy.
Well, to that point, I mean, those properties wouldn't fall under, to be able to use the CPC funding to do any research on.
Right.
So again, that removes that potential source of funding.
Okay. Right. Point taken. Okay. Marcia, anything to add or question, or what do you think we should do? What's your opinions?
I think we should definitely, we had gone through and looked at all those or most of the properties and made recommendations a while ago, and I think we should follow through with that. I agree with Kathy. If we go through the list again, it may not be as an efficient use of our time. We all made recommendations and you submitted them, and maybe we can see what the status is of what we've already made.
Okay. All right. James, Any comments? You want to jump in here?
No, I don't really have any comments on this stuff. Obviously, it'd be nice to make progress and move forward, but it's been challenging, and hopefully at some point we can. But that's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you. Okay, moving right along, unless there's anything else. We're good? Okay. I think I will get back to Mr. McCaskill, tell him about our discussion and tell him what we intend to do is just to, again, put forward the same properties that we put forward before. And if they have any questions, I'd be glad to respond to them. Don't what else we can do. I think skipped over, we should have approved the minutes from previous meetings. We are looking to approve the minutes from the regular and executive session on November the 20th and the executive session minutes from December the 18th. Kathy?
Yeah, I'd make a motion to accept both the regular session and the executive session minutes of those two dates.
Yes.
Of those two dates. I thought we only had one date in December and it was just one meeting, executive session.
Well, that's the executive session, December 18th, but November 20th was a regular meeting and executive session.
Okay, so I make a motion to accept the regular session minutes from November 20th and December executive session, December 18th, 2020.
And a second?
Seconded.
Thank you. Next would be an update on our CPC
We have
application.
to vote by roll call.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, roll call vote. Kathy?
Aye.
Marcia?
Aye.
James?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
And myself is aye. Okay. Next would be the update on the CPC application. Michael? Michael and I have appeared before the Board of Selectmen again. They had raised several more questions, which since Michael has answered all the questions. And then last evening was the CPC meeting where they reviewed all the applications and one of which was ours. Michael, anything you'd like to add to this?
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I had some microphone issues last night during the CPC meeting, but it all worked out. Thanks, Elaine. And it was a really productive meeting, and it some very supportive comments by the members of the CPC. And I thought Kathy framed the discussion really well by illuminating that this is land preservation or development option for the owners, so that the town, ACT, and partners have an opportunity here to create many community benefits. And it seemed very supportive. The committee didn't take a vote yet, but I think that's coming up for most of the projects in the next few weeks. So it's exciting. We'll keep our fingers crossed, and we're available to answer any more questions as the time continues.
Yeah. Kathy, do you know yet when your next meeting is going to be?
Well, we do have a meeting next Thursday, but we have a member who may not be able to attend, and we may postpone it until the beginning of February so that we can have full attendance for voting.
Oh,
But
gotcha.
that still has not been decided.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's good. And I think you deserve a bonus in your pay for that meeting last night. It was definitely bonus worthy. So, your cookie in your lunch today, Kathy.
Yeah, I thought I could make you good little things in there, though. Putting people to task for some stuff. So
No, you're doing a great job, and we really appreciate you representing us on that committee because you really are doing a great job, and we appreciate it.
For sure.
Yep.
I think the overall committee is supportive of the project.
Yeah, I had that feeling too.
I think the rub will be if we go to town meeting and there's not BOS support, which is a possibility, then we just have to be prepared on town meeting floor to answer any questions, because it's certainly not unprecedented that things have not had BOS support before. So
That's right. Yes.
Well, I think we'll be prepared. I think we'll be well prepared to do that.
And I think we're making progress with the selectmen as
Good.
well. So
Good. Good.
It's a tough fight, but we're getting there. We're getting there. Thank you. Amy, anything you'd like to add to our discussion today? Anything going on in your world that you'd like to bring up?
Nothing in particular as it pertains to this meeting that hasn't been already kind of talked about in regard, about the tax lien list and everything like that. I think your course is what I would agree with. And
Have you had any more feedback from regarding the Grassy Pond properties?
I have not.
Okay.
The last kind of between Christmas and New Year's, well, maybe it was right before Christmas, was the last time I tried to contact that contact I had for those parcels.
Mm-hmm.
And I know we'd had the discussion of, well, we're not booting somebody off their property. Can we just pursue foreclosure on that's an internal conversation we had here, but I haven't heard any sense. So.
Yeah, well, one of those lots has gone to foreclosure. So.
I was not made aware, and I did.
And from what I understand from Amy Bullock, what they're looking at is if an owner has several properties that have liens against them, they're going to go for the whole package, not just the one parcel at a time. They're going to, if an owner has 3 or 4, and which is true, some of them have 4 or 5 properties that are all on the tax lien list, they will go after them as a package and not as each individual one.
And I apologize if you said that earlier. It was a little bit hectic in here when the meeting first started, and I didn't catch absolutely everything. So.
Okay. Well, nothing else. That's it. We're good.
Well, we're good.
All righty.
Thank you.
All right. Moving on to new business. As I said before, Susan is someone who's interested in maybe joining our committee. Dave, you had, would you like in your members report to, you have someone else who you thought might be interested in joining the committee?
Sure. I have been having meetings with Dan Wolf and Margot Fenn. Roundabout way. I've known Margot for 25 years. She lived next door to my mom. And I got dragged into what is now something that Dan is really hot about, and that's water quality. And in those meetings, Dan suggested that, Margot get on a committee like REOS. She pointed out that she was on REOS, but she would be interested in rejoining us. And I think she would make a really good candidate because of the amount of contacts she has, people she knows, history that she knows about things that occurred when she was running the Cape Cod Commission. She's a real superstar, my book.
Okay, yeah, and I think when I came on the committee, Margot was on, and I think she left shortly thereafter, right around the same. So I don't really know her. I think maybe one meeting or two maybe, that I was with her. So for Susan and for Margot, you can pass along. I guess the thing is to fill out the application and submit it, and then I don't know. Kathy, do we just have folks fill out the application and have, the Board of Selectmen interview committee? And I mean,
Yeah, they have to fill out that form and
Right.
then they have to be interviewed. But if they don't have the form filled out, then the whole process stops. So,
right, okay. And the form is available on the website, on the town website, to be filled out. I also have two other people who are suddenly popular. There are two other people that have shown interest. One, I think maybe is really iffy. And the other one, even though eager, is not able to join us through virtual meetings at the moment. So that's a problem there. Yes, Kathy.
well, I mean, you may want to take a look at sort of the ending appointment dates of the current membership to see, what the status is. If there's some members that might be thinking about leaving in June, then if we had an overflow, we know we could tell people, get, the interview, and then when there's potential opening, whatever. I mean, we're going to have extra interest. We might as well,
Take
have
advantage of it.
people-
Right, right. Has this committee ever had alternates? No? Okay. All right, because that would be another, because in those times when we've had a problem with quorums, it would be nice if there was an alternate that could help out. So, I don't know. Okay, so, yes, Dave?
How many open positions do we have right now? Is it just one?
Yeah. And I don't think anybody's planning on jumping ship. Please don't jump ship. Don't look at me like that, Kathy.
You had asked me to stay 1 year. I stayed 2.
Oh, come on. Come on, you love it. Oh, yeah. Okay, so that's where it stands. So Dave, if you want to contact Margot and tell her, that's the way to go. Fill out the application and we'll just, go along and see what happens. So then it would be up to the Board of Selectmen in the interview committee to make a determination. And fine. Okay, Marcia, anything you'd like to report? Anything going on in your world? I assume Cherokee Road is still on the market?
Yeah, I haven't, there hasn't been much change with regarding to that. I don't know as far as if they've actually made the plans for the subdivisions like they had talked about. Last time we talked about it, Charlene had mentioned that there had been no applications for that. So I don't know if it's, just in a holding pattern right now.
Okay. Well, if you notice, when you get the tax lien list, 0 Cherokee Road is on it.
Maybe that's why it's in a holding pattern.
Yeah, maybe. And nothing else, right? That's where we are with that, I guess. Okay. All right, James, anything you'd like to mention or contribute or?
No, I don't have anything new to contribute.
Okay. All right, Dave, anything else? You, Kathy?
Nope.
Okay. All righty. Our next meeting date would be February 19th. Okay. And now I will take a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, roll. Oh, second, Dave?
Yep.
Okay, roll call, Marcia,
Aye.
James,
Aye.
Dave,
Aye.
Kathy,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. We are now officially adjourned. Thank you all very much for joining us today, and I will send out that lien list at some point this morning. Okay? All right. Thank you all very much.